Yo, what up, y'all? It's TaoTrades back with another video, and this is going to be a weekly trade recap. I missed last week. I apologize. Just missed it. Didn't make time for it, but that's what we're here for, to get more consistent. So, yeah, we're gonna make this quick and just go over our trades for the week. This was Monday, so I took this 1 minute breakout here, and I took it because we broke underneath this kind of somewhat of a support, and it came up and retested to 50. The 1 minute was in the middle, so it wasn't the best setup, but because we didn't have to cross any EMAs to win, and we were kind of going on a downtrend before I took this trade, even though it was early around 8 o'clock. I like this retest off to 50, and then we closed below. I didn't take it on the initial one. I took it on the second one because it just was too close to the 200 EMA for me. So I took it on this breakout, and I was in profit. It was a good trade. Definitely hit my 1-to-1. And like I said, I wrote it here. I didn't take profit at like 1 to 1.4, and that's was in this area. I just kind of wanted to tap this area and see the EMAs in line, but it didn't. After I seen this pullback, when I seen it tap this 200 EMA and come back down, but it really wasn't printing any red candles, I moved my stop loss to this high. This kind of resistance right here with this double high, and I just got stopped out there. I didn't take a full hit, but I would have if I didn't move my stop loss. So that's the first trade. I lost that on both my accounts because I bought a new Top Step eval. So I'm on two accounts now. Two Top Step X accounts, 50Ks, and I'll be trying to, do my best to pass those and, get my second payout of the year. So yeah, that's the first trade. Second trade of the same day is this is around the open on US 30. The first trade was on the Nasdaq. This is a US 30. So this is a 5 minute demand that I like. It didn't have a major break of structure, but it broke this high here on the 5 minute, and the 200 was below. So when I see a EMA in my zone, especially the 200, usually it holds. Usually, I would like to do a little bit more back testing on that, but when there's an EMA in a zone and it's not above the zone, like if the top of the zone, the EMA's there, but if it's in the zone or at the bottom of the zone, usually those zones hold because, and if they don't, it's kind of a reversal or it's going to go on your other way, because if it breaks the EMA, it has to break structure unless it's a liquidity grab. It just takes your zone out and grabs this liquidity under here. But when price came down here and I seen it was just consolidating and it was getting close to the open, I was kind of waiting for it to push up, especially since it gave this 200 EMA tap right before it opened, like 5-10 minutes before it opened, and then it printed this candle with a wick here. So on this chart, on a 5 minute, it went down as soon as the open candle printed and opened up. But when I seen it, it rejected immediately and gave this double bottom after 200 EMA and still respected this 5 minute zone. I just waited for it to break the previous candle high. I could have gotten in earlier because I was kind of gauging it off of the 1 minute, and I basically entered off the 1 minute, but all my confluence was, from the 5 minute setup. I just did that to see if I could get a more precise entry, but it ended up being at the top of this 5 minute previous candle high, and I kind of just wrote it out to a 1-to-1. I didn't have to put my stop loss down here. I did just to be safe because I got in because it went down and broke this candle high probably within, I say, 40 seconds of the candle opening. So if it did do that, because you never know with the open candle, it's so volatile, it could spike either way and just make a doji but take liquidity out on both sides. So I decided to just put my stop loss at the bottom, so that way if it was to lose, I kind of know it was going to reverse anyways. And with the EMAs getting close like this for a buy, the 13 pushing up towards the 50, usually, and this is, you might see this in some other trades that I recognize these past 2-3 weeks, usually as soon as the EMA cross, especially the 13 and the 50, and with that, whichever direction that it crosses in, like that confluence, price tends to push in that direction. So as soon as you get this cross, the candle before is the open candle. So when you get that cross, it pushes up, and as you can see, it pushed up most of the rest of the day. Hopefully, I can find another example of this, but this is just what I've been seeing. And it did that. Like this candle basically was a cross, and it printed a green candle. But that was a win for that candle on one of the accounts because I traded this on the way to work. So that was a win for the day, and I ended the day a few dollars. It was like a break even day. I lost like $40 total on the day because it was kind of as similar as my first loss. This is Tuesday on YM. This was a beautiful trade in my opinion. It was pretty early, but I just liked it because we were at a higher time frame zone. I believe this zone that it's at now. Yeah, I drew this up the night before. It was a 1 hour demand zone after a strong push up and then consolidated and then printed a 1 hour demand. And I drew this up the night before. Prices like around here, a little further back the night before, like 11 o'clock. So when I woke up and I seen prices here, we was consolidating. We didn't really go deep into the zone because the 1 hour candle, and this was all just a wick. All this price action here was a wick on the 1 hour. So when I got on the charts and I drew this, this was a 1 minute zone right here that I wanted to see if it tapped, pulling back because we had to cross the EMA kind of to win. But I just liked it because it was coming off a 1 hour demand zone, and even when the EMAs don't look the best on the 5 minute, like your entry time frame, but has good higher time frame confluence, it just might take some time. Like expect to be in some drawdown at the beginning of your trade. But I took it right at this breakout, 5 minute breakout of this candle. Was in a little bit of drawdown, but I wanted it to come tap. I was waiting for it to come tap this 1 minute zone because it ran into an EMA. Usually when it gives a wick at an EMA on a 13 EMA breakout at the 50, you experience some drawdown. It does a retest at the 13, and it did exactly that. And it was a pretty quick trade. I was in this trade like 20 minutes, and I made like 1K on this trade. This is probably my best. This is my best trade of the week. And I was done. That was all I took for that day. So that's it for Tuesday. Going to Wednesday, we got a YM breakout. So I took this trade twice, basically. I took the same trade this day, but I lost on my first entry because I thought it was going to stop me out, and it didn't. And then I got back in. So I'm going to get into that now. So I got in at this, when it performed this doji, after it tapped the 50 SMA and came back down, I didn't like it, but because it pushed down first and then you seen the buyers came in, but even if it rejects off the 50, buyers are somewhere in this area because they push price up. It's just the EMA kind of, was playing defense and basically pushed price back down, but we stayed above 13. So I entered after this kind of, it pushed down a little bit and then came back to this open of this previous doji right here, and I got in there, but it started to push down, and I got out where I drew this line, and my stop loss was, I put my stop loss right underneath this candle, because I wanted it to, if it lost, it had to break the 200 EMA, and it didn't, and I still got out. But it looks like, why'd you get out at this point? Because it's a screenshot, but when this candle was printed, you don't want to see, especially with the EMA above, the 50 SMA above. If this is fully red, while you're in the trade, it looks like it's going to hit your stop loss. So I was like, let me just cut my loss. I exited all my positions. And then about 2 minutes later, it printed like this. And when it printed like this, not really closing underneath the 13 EMA and testing the 200 EMA, I just was like, let me enter the same risk. I still like the trade. I just cut my loser, and I got back in and held it for a little longer, so I made a little bit more money back with that trade. And that's basically it. So I lost like 900 on the total between two accounts, and then got back in and kind of made the same amount on that same exact trade on two accounts. So I was up about $300 on the day. But I ended up winning on this trade, but I took it twice. I had two entries, as you can see here. I entered the same setup, and it hit a 1 and 2, and I held for the 1 and 2 as well. So I was on profit for the day. of that trade, and I was on my other trade. And then we go to Thursday. I believe I have 2 trades for this day. This was a quick trade, a quick loser. Not really too much confluence besides the fact that it was a 13 EMA cross, 50 was underneath. It wasn't a gamble trade, but it wasn't much reason for me to get in this trade looking at it now. Um, there's liquidity here. It kind of rejected off of it, but the EMAs weren't in the best alignment, and they were close to crossing. So, like I said, you get this cross here. Usually in that direction, it tends to go in that direction when they cross. So the 13's crossing the 50 downwards. It goes down, pushes down. Sellers are in, and the rest is history. So I ended up losing that 1-1. That was a quick trade. On US 30 on the 7th, and I believe I got in for sales right after. Yeah, so I lost up here, and then when I seen I got in, no, I got in for buys again. Why? I'm looking at it. See, that's why hindsight is always 2020, because when I was looking at this trade originally, this doesn't look good at all, but um, it just was a 13 EMA breakout, kind of off this, a little bit of resistance down here, and I believe there was a reaction, further looking left on the 5 minute, because this was on the 1 minute, and again, you got another EMA cross, and this is on the 1 minute, kind of coming up, and this was like a resistance level right here that it kind of came and tapped. But when I seen these candles printing, I thought I was going to win, but close to when these EMAs are close to crossing, not really. It doesn't matter on what time frame. When they cross, usually whatever direction they're crossing in, price tends to follow the EMAs, which is why I have them on anyways. They're for direction and momentum and stuff like that, and overall trend. But that cross, you get a huge bearish candle, and I took 2 L's that day. I clarified them both as C setups if I'm looking at them now, because even looking at them now, I'm like, just not. I'm trading towards both EMAs in the 1 minute, and the 1 minute fluctuates like no other time frame, unless you're on a second time frame, which no one trades on. But yeah, that was it for Thursday, and we're gonna go to. I took 4 trades on Friday, 2 on my 2 evals, and then 2 on my live. So we'll get to those now. The first trade I took was this loser on US 30. I had a 1 minute demand here that did not get tapped. And I was waiting for it to get tapped, but instead I ended up just getting in off of this 13 EMA rejection. And again, the EMAs aren't aligned. It's just 200 above the 50. You would really want this to be the 50 and this to be the 200. And we already had, kind of pushed up with the same type momentum. And when it gave this wick and this wick here, I kind of just knew that it was going to lose. But there was a 1 minute here, and I was like, if it taps this, I may look for a re-entry, but it broke through it. So I didn't end up getting back in on that original trade. And that was the first loser of the day. And then I took a sell. When I took this trade, this trade was basically, I had $200 left on a 50K eval, and I was down on the day, and I was like, the rebuild's in a couple of days, so, and I know I'm about to buy another Top Step X, because I wasn't copy trading. I had 2 charts on both my monitors, and I was trading my TradeAvate Top Step and my Top Step X on 2 different monitors. So I was like, I didn't, you could say full port, but the rebuild was coming up, and I was thinking the trade was going to go down and test that original, this 1-to-1 line that I was looking at here. So that's what I wanted to go hit, but it kind of gave like a double bottom, pushed up, and I ended up losing on that trade. But I got in on this original candle, this red one, and it was fully red, obviously, when I got in, but gave this wick. So when I seen all these wicks down here, it should have been an indication not to take sales. It's kind of building some type of support on the 1 minute. But that was my trade for the to basically blow my account. That I knew what I was doing. Like, I was this either wins, you know, or it doesn't. And then I ended up buying another account anyways because I knew what I wanted to do, but it ended up losing, and it wasn't really a good trade. It was like a CD trade in my book. But then here we're gonna go to the first trade on my live. This looks kind of messy, but I took this after the open when I seen this candle. EMAs are kind of bunched up, but when it's at the open and the EMAs are bunched up, I don't really like to take trades. So 9:30 was this candle, and I waited a few minutes. This is the 5 minute. I waited about 15, 20 minutes until I originally got in, and I seen this candle print after it coming to tap this, you know, resistance area. And when this candle printed with this wick here, I kind of just, I didn't want to take it here because it broke all the EMAs. But once again, it didn't cross. And this candle was the cross candle. So you already have the 200 underneath. And I know the EMAs are bunched up. And then you have the 50 and you have the 13. 13's coming up with momentum. It crosses. So on that candle, I ended up getting in right when when price broke that previous candle high. And I kind of was just riding it up. This RR is basically at the top, the high of the day. So I wasn't really expecting it to go up there, you know, off the rip, but it was pushing up strong, and I held this all the way up here, closed the contract here at this candle close, I believe, and I just set my stop loss to break even because I was like, if it goes break even, there's a demand down here. It can come down, tap the EMA, you know, to retest, to push back up. And it ended up doing that, and that was the first trade I took on my live. I held that for, you know, quite a while. To be honest, I was holding that when I was at work. So, and then I took another trade pretty late in the day, but I liked it because, again, it gave a double bottom. On the 15 minute, this was a double bottom. Like perfect double bottom, as you can see. So I drew this out. This was a double bottom. I don't normally take trades this late, but I liked it. This entry here was a 15-minute close. So 5, 10, 15, these three candles was a 15-minute 13 EMA breakout after a double bottom. So that's why I got in, and I really like this setup. And, you know, again, that EMA cross pushes up with a little bit of momentum. I added a contract because I went in with one contract because I didn't want to give back the profits on my live that I, you know, secured here. So I went in with one. I went in two contracts on this one. I went in one contract here, closed it, added one here, and then closed both contracts right around here because the contract that I entered, the original one here, was in profit a couple dollars, and the second one that I ended up, you know, entering right here, it was at break even. So I basically made the profit of basically if I was trading one contract, but I got tired of holding the trade. It was extremely late, as you can see. It was 12 o'clock. I probably won't. I'll definitely try to stay away from taking trades that late. But it was a 15-minute breakout off the double bottom. And this week, price action was everywhere, and they were giving late setups. So I was like, why not? I'll just lower my risk. And I'm just trying to slowly build my live account anyways. It's not nothing crazy, a couple $100. So it was managed. But I think I'm gonna take longer term trades, like hold a trade for, you know, a few hours on my live since it's small, and if I want to make big returns, I'm gonna have to risk a lot of my account, which I don't want to do on my live. So if I have, you know, live trades this week and y'all see them on the next recap next Sunday, they'll most likely be, you know, 15-minute confluence trades that I hold, you know, for minimum, you know, 25, 30 minutes, you know, hopefully, like, you know, a few hours. But yeah, those are the trades for the week, man. It was overall I think almost a break even week. I had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I went 5 for 5 this week. It's quite a bit of trades for me. I usually try to take 1 or 2 a day, so that was basically almost like I took 4 on Friday though, so that was a lot. But yeah, I went 5 for 5, and it was kind of like a break even week because I ended up losing twice on Friday. That wasn't the live account, so I kind of dug into my $1,000 day profits on Tuesday. But yeah, those are the trades for the week, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you got any questions or comments, you know, leave them down below. Follow my Instagram to keep up with all my daily trades. I post them on there. The link will be in the description. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace out.